welcome back to Star Wars Nerds Unite, a discussion and review podcast focused on the Star Wars canon. I'm your host, timvanautreve. Joining me, as always, Josh the Tosh, Internet Famous Mason.
Hello.
And Jennifer Van Autreve.
Hey.
Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Your show. Our
Hi.
show. We have
Everyone's show.
We have a very important podcast ahead of us. We're going to be talking about the Rise of Skywalker, the 9th and final movie in the trilogy of trilogies.
The Skywalker saga.
Yes, it's over. Spoilers.
There are spoilers within. And there's no Max.
For the time being.
Okay, Jenny, do you want to give like a 10,000 foot?
No, I told you before we started I wasn't. Remember?
Yeah, but I'd never.
Listen to me.
Yeah, I never listened to.
It'll just be an actual synopsis.
Right, instead of telling us
The entire movie.
It's been so long, I
It's been
literally
2
can't
weeks.
even remember.
You can remember the movie.
Okay,
Uh-oh.
How does the movie start?
the crawl.
All right. The crawl says stuff
the
about...
Palpatine is alive. And the Resistance is working on figuring out what to do about it.
So
Rey is training with her master, Leia,
Yeah.
on a planet. It's like a foresty planet.
Yeah, but you don't know that
She
in the
has
crawl.
like a trap. Oh, I'm not even talking about the crawl anymore. I don't know what else the crawl said. I
You
just know,
skipped the entire opening of the movie.
because I don't remember it. That's why I didn't want
So
to do the synopsis.
Kylo goes and finds the Wayfinder
Oh, yeah. It's
on
like
a
I'm
planet.
watching it again.
Do you know what planet that was?
Nope.
Nobody really knew what it was until they retconned the fact that it's Mustafar. So that was...
That's where all the Sith temples were? Or where that's
No.
where
that's where Vader's castle was.
Yeah.
is that where what's his name is from?
No.
Darth Maul?
Darth Maul is a Zabrak, and he was trained by Night Sisters on Dathomir.
Dathomir, that's
Yeah,
it.
Mustafar
Okay.
is at the end of Revenge of the Sith, where Anakin and Obi-Wan have their big duel,
And Obi-Wan has the high ground.
and it's a big lava planet.
Yeah, I know.
Kylo is decidedly not a lava planet. So remember that VR game we saw at Celebration?
Yeah.
Vader Immortal?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently in the plot for Vader Immortal, they talk about since Vader has died, the planet has started to heal itself. And so that forest is like a lava forest. So the lava hardened up and some weird lava trees have
it
grown.
was a lava when Anakin was there.
That's what I'm saying.
So then why would it have healed itself after Vader died when it was...
What?
It was a lava planet, like
Yeah,
the
before-
very...
But so Sidious was using it for something.
Oh. Okay, whatever.
That's why he sent Anakin there in the first place, to kill the
so it wasn't
separatists there.
just Vader that made it
the dark
lava.
side
Yeah,
was strong.
I don't know.
Okay.
I have not played the VR game. Anyways, that was Mustafar, and that was Vader's Wayfinder.
Didn't you think it was a little jarring that they were just like, oh yeah, Palpatine's back in the crawl? Like it was just that matter of fact.
I don't...
See,
I think what you'll find, I'm not that upset about Palpatine being back
I know
at all.
I'm not upset about it either, but it felt really jarring to me when it first came up, and I still have some struggles with it. And I think I might be kind of like being an apologist, but when I think about all the crawls, they always do that. It's always like this. They stick you right into the middle of a situation with no indication of what happened in between the last movie and now.
Right.
Other than
That's
just
because
like,
it's supposed to be like the old Flash Gordon serials, where you didn't know anything, but the most important thing in the universe is happening right now. And so let's just watch as this most important thing in the history of the universe happens. And what happens before and after doesn't really matter.
it all matters.
Oh, well, I mean,
Matters to
that's
me.
the conceit of how these movies are made. It's not that. But it wasn't even that he's alive, just that a voice has come back that says it's Palpatine.
Oh, yeah, recording or
Yeah.
hollow recording or whatever.
And so the first scenes of the movie is Kylo getting the Wayfinder, which is supposedly Vader's Wayfinder, So that thing was supposedly the ruins of Vader's castle.
No,
Okay.
no idea.
Okay. Suppose there's a lot of stuff that's come out since the movie has happened. There was apparently a much longer scene on that planet, and it all got edited out because they thought it was just too much superfluous storytelling. Like they just wanted to get to the point where Palpatine was there, and he sets Kylo on his mission to go
I
kill
thought
Rey.
the beginning, like at least like the first 30 minutes of the movie felt so off, like felt so strange and
rushed.
disorienting.
Very rushed.
Disorienting. Like you're here, then you're there, then you're here, then you're there. And like it was like forced dialogue, and I couldn't get into it at first. It felt very strange.
Well, then,
So if they had a long scene where they're like getting to the point of that, I think that probably would have been better.
So
for me.
he finds the Wayfinder. He goes to the new planet, the new lightning planet. Do you remember what it's called? Exegol. They say it a couple times in the movie.
yeah, I know.
And he
More
goes
than a couple.
into this weird subterranean Sith temple, essentially. And he sees Snoke clones.
Oh, that's
in
what
vats.
Yeah.
You
the
didn't notice?
people in the like gallery watching.
No, in the
Oh.
tubes, the giant vats of goo were a bunch of Snoke bodies.
I don't even think I noticed that.
Clearly.
Yeesh.
Maybe I did.
Did you get the whole when Palpatine says that he's been every voice in Ben's head? When it was one part of that was Snoke's voice,
I thought that
and part of it was Darth Vader's voice.
I took it that he was just controlling other people and making them
No, he
Like-
was making him hear these things.
as other voices.
Yeah,
Mm.
he was manipulating him the whole time. Palpatine was manipulating Ben the whole time.
I understood that, but I thought he just meant he was like putting Snoke in his life.
He created Snoke
Right.
just to manipulate Ben.
Yeah.
And he
I
was
didn't
the
get
voice
that
of
he was-
Snoke all along. And anytime he talked to Vader, he was Vader. Palpatine's basically saying he manipulated his entire life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they gave Snoke a backstory.
Yeah. It worked.
Tidied that up in one line of dialogue. I would rather they just didn't. I mean, whatever. It is what it is, but I don't think he needed a backstory.
I mean, he didn't. That's still not much of a backstory.
No, it's a
'Cause
bunch of internet people
wasn't
complained
Snoke-
that he didn't have a backstory. So
But
let's
Snoke was
wash our
supposed
hands
to be
of it.
like centuries old, right? He's supposed to be like
That's what he
this
told people.
ancient evil. Like his face is like half decayed off his body, and he's just like looks like a mummy
Funny
because
story.
he's so
But he
old.
was coming out like that.
when
He looked like that
when
since he
Ben
was
first
born.
meets Snoke, he's not deformed. So in the comic book, The Rise of Kylo Ren, he meets Snoke in it. Like the first time he goes to Snoke after he leaves the Jedi Academy.
That's a brand new comic.
Yeah.
Didn't it just come out?
Yeah, it came out the day the movie did.
Okay.
And Snoke isn't deformed.
Hmm.
So whatever. It doesn't
Maybe,
really matter.
he just decays.
yeah,
so
he
much
decays
dark-
so fast.
the
They just
clone-
replace him every couple
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
Maybe. So he tells Ben, you got to go kill Rey. And I'll give you this super sweet fleet that was hiding underneath this planet.
Super sweet fleet.
Oh, it's like every Imperial ship that's ever existed.
No.
No,
they
it's
made
just a
new
bunch of
ones.
new ones.
Oh,
And where did he get the resources to do that?
Don't know.
Was he must have just been stashing it.
Who knows? So
I thought they like took old ones and rebuilt
No,
them. from
these are
the-
new ones.
How did he get that many people?
well, that's the
to
whole
man
problem
all
is
those
they
Star
don't
Destroyers.
have people.
Well, what about
That's
all
why they
those-
need the First Order, and they need to go get a whole bunch more people because they don't have enough people to man the ships. So Palpatine sort of needs the First Order.
But he created the First Order.
He did, but he needs the people. He made them go get a bunch of people. Remember how they're stealing all the kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was to make this army so that he could use all his fancy Star Destroyers he was growing underground
Uh-huh.
to take over the
Like-
galaxy
like
again.
Potato destroyers.
Yeah. doesn't. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
It matters to me. It all matters.
So that sets up Kylo on his mission, his arc for the movie. He has to go kill Rey, but he secretly thinks he's gonna kill Palpatine too. Like he just thinks Palpatine's another chump that needs to be
right.
So he wants to take all the Star Destroyers and then kill Palpatine.
And Palpatine is like hooked up to like life support in this weird.
Yeah, he's not really alive.
He's just there's like literally tubes and juices flowing in and out of him. And it's weird.
Yeah,
He's like upright. He's
hanging on a giant arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
And then
there.
he's in this huge like arena type thing.
That's at the end. He wasn't in the arena at this time.
It was.
Yes, he
I
was.
thought it
He
was
was
always
in the
in the
same
same.
room.
Yeah,
No, he wasn't.
Yeah.
I thought it was always.
No,
the
he was
same
standing
thing.
next to the tubes.
Yeah, he was always next to. He was
tubes
always
are in a
connected
different
to
part.
the tubes.
I'm sure Chris can draw us the schematic,
I think he was
Of
always
the
connected
Sith
to
temple.
the tubes.
but he was in different locations
Okay.
at the beginning of the movie and at the end of the movie.
I-
Irrelevant detail.
I disagree. Because the throne was right there.
It wasn't though. Giant arm. He's hanging on a giant arm.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm segueing out of that argument.
But the throne's still there.
It's in a different room. It's in the throne room, the arena throne room.
Oh, jeez. See, there's two thrones? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, there's one scant throne, the Sith throne.
Right. Which is in the same room.
It's
as
in the throne arena, which the tubes of Snoke are not in.
Not the tubes of
No, yeah,
Snoke.
not
I'm
the tubes of
talking
Snoke.
He's
about.
standing.
The
He's near the
Palpatine
tubes of
tubes.
Snoke.
Okay, I don't know.
I challenge that idea, but okay.
That's okay. All right, so then it cuts to Rey. Why don't you go from there?
She's on this forest planet training. She has like an outdoor track where she like goes through and trains, runs through this obstacle course and fights, uses her lightsaber she just trains, and she's training with Leia.
Ninja Warrior style.
Yeah. And she's trying to connect with all of the Jedi before her, trying to like listen to them and connect with the Force somehow. I think if I remember right, even from the very beginning, like she gets distracted and starts thinking about Kylo a lot. Like
He starts thinking about her. Like he re-engages the Force connection that they have.
Is that in the very beginning though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It causes her to drop the tree on BB-8.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. So they're like in and out of connecting with the Force several times, but she drops the tree on BB-8, and then Poe and Finn were somewhere, and then they come back.
Simultaneous
They come back
plot.
right after.
They go and meet some informant that gives them the information. So now the resistance knows everything they could possibly ever want to know about all these Star Destroyers that just popped out of the ground.
Who did they get them?
They got it from a mole. All they know at this point is they have a mole in the First Order.
Oh.
We find out who it is later.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't even know from there.
They merge.
Yeah,
Poe
everybody
and Finn
comes
come
back.
back.
They come back to the base.
They talk about how Mary Wise tells everyone how there's all these Star Destroyers and we have 16 hours until they destroy the galaxy. And then
And they all have Starkiller base tech on them.
right. And he mentions the planet Exegol, and that triggers Rey to remember, that Luke was conveniently looking for Exegol for a number of years. And the trail ran cold on Pisana.
Oh, I couldn't remember why they went there. So her, Finn, Poe,
C-3PO, BB-8, and
Chewie all go to, what's it called? Pisana. And that's kind of like another desert planet.
Yeah.
And there's this huge like celebration going on. Like the whole planet is in this like
It's like
just
Burning Man.
party.
It is kind of like Burning
in the
Man.
desert, and there's kids and everybody's all together and everybody's just happy and dancing and there's music and everybody's just eating and loving life, and they like just are welcomed right into their celebration and are mingling around with the locals. And then, like 2 minutes in, the stormtroopers spot them or something, so they're like already on the run. And they steal some speeders or something.
No, before that happens. Who saves them?
Lando.
Lando saves them. And gives them a little nugget to keep them on their quest. Saying there's this guy, Ochi, that he and Luke were tracking. And they could never find him. They just found his ship, but they never found him. And that's where the trail ran cold.
And then they found the ship really like 2 seconds later.
He knew where the ship was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the ship was above ground.
So they get away from the crowd and the stormtroopers, and then they find the ship. It's like in a cave type thing.
No, the ship is just parked out in the desert.
Oh.
Yeah, and then they get caught in the quicksand.
There's a big chase scene with
okay.
rockets, troopers, and BB-8 exploding, colorful, like Holly Festival of Light.
So they they get in the quicksand, and then that's when they're kind of in this big cavern cave type thing.
They're in snake tunnels.
Oh.
Yeah, remember the hurt snake thing?
That Rey heals.
Rey heals him
Yes.
because he's hurt.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a new thing Rey can do. She can transfer her energy into other beings.
It's in one of the books that she's been reading.
And
The only reason that scene existed was just to set up that she can heal people now.
Yeah.
so she heals a huge...
And they find
thing.
Ochi. He was conveniently sucked into the same quicksand and probably killed by the snake a number of years ago.
The physics of that really surprises me.
We're not having a physics discussion in Star Wars.
Okay.
There's no value in it.
But you see how strange that is.
It is what it is.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter.
No, it doesn't, but it's still interesting that there could possibly be sand like that.
So Ochi,
Wait, there's real quicksand. What do you mean?
he's saying there's a cavern beneath the quicksand. Like, where does the quicksand go? Why doesn't the quicksand go into the cavern?
Right, and why couldn't they go back up through the quicksand? It was like hard. It was like they crashed through something hard, but the quicksand didn't come through.
Well, some of the sand had to have come through.
It
I
did.
did not see any.
That's the wrong thing to argue about.
I agree.
Who
I'm
cares?
not arguing. I'm adding color commentary.
Color.
Okay, I'm the Chris Collinsworth right now.
No, you're not.
Okay.
Other than everyone wants to throw a football at your head.
Right. That was what I meant.
Okay.
He had a sweet Sith caddy down there with him, too.
So they found the dead guy that Luke had been looking for.
And he had a dagger.
Oh, yeah. This is the one that we talked
I
about.
teased.
It was an Indiana Jones dagger.
Yeah. And it had Sith runes on it.
Yeah.
And C-3PO could read the Sith runes.
But his
couldn't
protocol
read them
wouldn't
out
allow
loud.
him to read that language.
Yeah. Okay.
So
It was hard coded into him. He couldn't read Sith.
It's part of his programming.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they could reprogram him and override that, but then that would cause his memory to be completely wiped out.
Right. But they had to go find somebody.
Yeah.
This is a very
they went on another
black
quest.
market.
Yeah.
They found a teeny
Thing.
tiny cute little creature that could do it that was adorable. What was his name?
Babu Frick.
Yeah. He was cute.
So they go to a different planet. Well, you skipped
there's
the
a
whole
ton
part,
of stuff that
right?
happened. Okay. Is that all they found on him? The dagger?
That's the only thing relevant to this section.
And-
Quest 1B.
Okay, so they
it's
make it out of
1C.
the tunnels. They're ready to get back on the ship. Rey feels something coming. She just takes off into the desert.
Just walks aimlessly.
She just starts walking away. Everybody's getting their seatbelts on, and then she's just gone. And
BB-8 finds Dio.
it's the Knights of Ren.
Yeah, the Dio was in the old ship.
Oh yeah, he was
He
with.
sparked him alive.
Yeah.
And he's like a timid dog that's been beaten. He's real scared of everybody, and he's like, "No, thank you."
But he speaks basic. That's the other. He only speaks little phrases of basic. He doesn't speak droid.
Yeah.
So Rey can sense that Kylo is coming or something, so she goes out into the desert, just starts walking.
Finn senses it too, though.
Finn senses it?
Yeah.
Okay. So she's out there, and this is that really cool scene that was in the trailer where she just like starts running and then running towards Kylo's
Running away.
running away,
Yeah.
and he's coming at her, and then she just jumps and does a flip in midair and lands on top of his ship, and
Doesn't even land
No,
on the ship.
she
Just cuts his wing off.
In her backflip.
yeah.
She just
And
slices
so
it
then
down.
he crashes, and then he gets out, and I don't even know if they do anything. They just
There was
kinda
a
stare
separate
at
thing
each
that
other.
was going on
Yeah,
where
'cause-
Chewbacca went to go look for Rey. Finn
Yes.
says, Chewie, go get Rey. And Chewbacca goes and gets captured by the Knights of Ren. And he's on a transport. Finn sees him getting put on a transport, then runs behind some rocks and yells at Rey, hey, they've got Chewbacca in this transport that's flying away.
And then
So she tries to stop it using the Force.
yeah, her and Kylo are just kind of like standing, staring at each other. Finn runs out and says they've caught Chewie. So she sees the ship flying away. So she uses the Force to try to like pull it back down to Earth, and she's pulling it back, and then Kylo's pushing it, and they are like having this Force battle, and it causes the ship to explode.
No.
Rey causes the ship to explode.
Rey gets angry
She
and
uses
shoots
too
Force
much.
lightning out of her hand.
And so she thinks she killed Chewie. The whole ship goes up in flames. And then
They leave.
I don't even know. Like then
They
Kylo
Go to Kijimi.
Kylo just walks away from that, and then she walks away.
Most of the audience thought Chewie died too.
Yeah, they set it up big time to make it look like Chewie died.
It totally did.
So yeah, she walks away, gets on the ship, flies off to Kijimi. Because Poe knows this black market droid manufacturer that's going to help.
Oh, they're gonna get the.
They're going to
read
figure out what the
read
dagger says.
Yeah.
Poe knows best.
The First Order is really strong on this planet, or really, I don't know.
Yeah, they're oppressive.
Yeah.
But so what's funny, they set up Chewie dying, and then the next scene is on the First Order ship, and they show that they captured Chewie and he's alive. Like it was,
It was
the
very
shortest.
short.
Well, they didn't want to leave us in too much suspense. People might have gotten upset. They could have walked out.
Oh my gosh. People weren't going to walk out.
It's kind of silly to kill. I mean, it would have been dumb to kill Chewie. He's one of the few characters that could just like stay alive for a long time.
Yeah, but if he died at the same time, I think it would have been fine.
I mean, because he's not going to age, right? You basically have R2 and 3PO, and
He already he ages.
Chewie. Yeah, but
He has
Much
lives a
slower.
longer life than
Yeah.
others. Sure.
much longer. Yeah.
But still, what's the harm in him dying?
It's harder to tell stories with him and keep people connected to it. Their little nostalgia thing. So if
This
they're
is
killing
the
off,
end of nostalgia.
if they're killing off all the characters that people feel nostalgia toward, which they basically are.
He doesn't
throughout
do
this
anything the
movie.
rest of the movie.
He does.
It's not like he just exists.
No.
Okay, but people still feel a connection to him.
They could have killed him off. It would have been fine.
It's not okay.
It is.
It's not
You
okay.
just didn't want him to
All
die.
right. You find out on this planet that Poe used to run spice.
Yeah.
And
Even though
There's
in all the previous stuff, he joined the New Republic Navy basically when he was a kid. So
Mhm.
And that was Snaps.
no, that was also Poe in the Before the Rebellion book.
What?
I just
What
like
was
looked
that?
up at
I
the
just-
screen, and
that
it was
screen is on.
it was like so. I thought it had stopped recording again. It just looked
No, it
weird.
pops up a window if it does that.
Okay.
Um,
So you find out that Poe used to run spice, but he doesn't really give any details, but that's it. You find that out.
they
There's-
hinted at it before, right? When he hot-wired the speeders. There's
How do you know how to do that?
there's all this dialogue between Finn and Poe that's like,
they talk to each other throughout this movie more than anybody else.
and what's weird is so they try and set up this antagonistic thing where
No,
Finn...
it's a total bromance. They're in love with each other.
They start out by Finn saying to Rey, hey, when they're going through the sinkhole, the quicksand,
yeah.
he's like, Rey, I've got to tell you something, I never told you this. And then they survive and he doesn't bring it back up.
And then Poe's like,
and so it becomes a point of contention of Finn won't tell Poe about this thing about Rey, and Poe won't tell Finn about this thing about his past, and they just won't tell each other, and it just tries to create this weird tension between them. Because it comes up again and again and again. When are you going to tell me about that? I don't know how you know all these secrets.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now it's a mystery that will never be solved.
No, I mean, we know. They told us. You ran spice. No.
Well, you
Zorg.
never find out what Finn was going to tell her.
Yeah, you do. They explicitly show it. They don't say it. They show it.
I don't know what it
He was going to tell Rey that he's force sensitive. That he feels the force. It happens 3 times in the movie.
I didn't even pick up on that.
I picked up on it, but I didn't think that could possibly be it because that was so dumb.
I agree, but that's what it is.
Why would you yell that when you're about to die?
Yeah, because why would it matter at that point?
Oh
because
yeah,
he's been wanting to tell her. He's been holding it in for 3 movies apparently, and he really wanted to tell her so that she wasn't alone.
Oh, I
didn't think that was it.
Okay.
That's what he wanted to tell her.
That's kind of dumb.
So that she wasn't alone makes some sense, but even then, it's pretty dumb.
Okay, that's fine. But that's what it was.
Those will not be my last words, Jenny.
If you're force sensitive, you won't tell her.
I would have told her a long time ago.
The second he even for a minute felt like he might have felt the force, he would have been like, "Oh my God, I'm a force user!"
Maybe. I don't know.
No, he would.
It's because I share everything with my wife.
But so that's what he wanted.
Everything.
I just thought the whole banter between them was weird. Like they wanted to create this weird tension between them.
I didn't really pick up any real tension.
I didn't pick up a lot of tension. I picked up them going from kind of like being each other's competitors in the other movies to now they're the couple almost. Well, they were together the whole time.
Why wouldn't you tell me? Why wouldn't you tell me your thing? I thought we were best buds. That's all it was. Right,
that's tension.
Yeah, it's hardly tension.
I agree. It's not. There's no reason for it, and it doesn't pay off. But they're trying to set it up.
I thought that those two were.
Why would Poe not have said from the beginning, "I know how to hotwire this because I ran spice for a few years"? Why would he not tell anybody that?
Maybe because he was doing it while he was in the Navy.
So what?
Well, I can see why not telling people that you ran spice would be a...
He lied to Leia. That's what that means.
So what?
Well, he would feel bad.
Okay. He already lied to her. He doesn't unlie to her if he never tells anybody.
Yeah,
he's probably ashamed of it.
Yeah,
it's not like a good thing to do.
Then it's different than if you just...
If he's your best bro, you would tell him.
I disagree.
All right. Well, that's what... You can disagree with that.
I don't tell you everything.
That's fine. I don't ask.
I know, because you don't care.
Yeah. So they're on Kijimi. They made it to Kijimi.
Yeah, so Poe, there's a woman there.
Zori.
That is from Poe's past. She wants to kill him. She's obviously been in some kind of romantic relationship.
She doesn't want to kill him.
No, in the very beginning.
She doesn't want to kill him.
But she literally threatens to murder him. I mean,
romantic?
Yes.
You can tell right away they've had a romantic relationship and he must have left her. But she literally threatens to blow his head off in the first 2 seconds.
Yeah, but that's just her being jolly,
jovial.
Yeah, joshing around.
It's just her flirting.
Yeah, basically.
So
that's the way most women flirt.
She helps them.
That's the way Poe's woman flirts.
Oh.
She helps them get to...
I forgot about her, that character altogether.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I thought in the first movie, I thought like Finn and Poe both had feelings for Rey and like they were competing over Rey off and on.
Poe doesn't meet Rey in the first movie.
She does. Yeah,
no.
He does.
Poe never meets Rey in the first movie.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't. The first time Poe meets Rey is at the end of The Last Jedi on the Millennium Falcon. He says, "Hi, I'm Poe." And she says, "Hi, I'm Rey." They shake hands, credits. That's the first time Poe and Rey meet. Yeah, yes.
I don't believe it.
You don't have to believe it. That's a fact.
So
They were definitely teasing Finn and Rey as some sort of...
yeah,
I think it ultimately landed on good friends. It was never romantic.
he definitely liked her in the beginning, though. He
He liked her because he was a child who was stolen and was a stormtrooper forever. And she was a person that treated him nice.
yeah.
She was the
He flirted with her.
First lady
He
he
liked
saw.
her. I'm not saying they were soulmates, but he did like her.
I don't...
As
That's what I'm
more
saying.
than a friend.
I don't think it was ever anything more than friendship. And they
men
never...
and women can be friends, Jennifer.
Okay. He obviously had a thing for Rey in the beginning.
I disagree.
He kept trying to hold her hand.
He was trying to help her. Yeah.
Yeah, he was trying to boss her
Oh my
around.
god, I can't argue with you guys. Okay. Anyway, where were we? So
They got
Poe's
to Jimmy.
ex-girlfriend shows them, helps them to find this person to
Babu
work
Frick.
on. Yes, she takes them, and they have to dodge the First Order the entire time. They're like everywhere out in the streets. And so they think C-3PO is gonna, they're gonna wipe his memory off, and he's all like sad about it, but he like tells everybody goodbye. This is the last time I'm gonna see my friends, blah, 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 blah. And
My
it's
friends.
it's really funny because like right before they do it, he's like, "Oh wait, I just thought of something different,"
Yeah.
and then his memory.
There was another really funny part with 3PO when they get on Pisana. And he's talking about how convenient it is that this festival that happens once every 42 years is going on. And then they look back at him and he waits and then he looks and turns. I thought 3PO's humor was great.
He
the whole
was
movie.
he was really funny. So then his memory's gone, but he can read the dagger for them. I don't know what it said.
It said something about this dagger will show the way, and it's the place where the second Death Star is. On the southern shore. It says some magical Indiana Jones thing, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then what?
So then they also got a Imperial cat. Well, this doesn't happen in that order, but they say, okay, we need to go to the place where the Death Star is because we need to go find the Wayfinder. So they decide they're going to go there, but then a Star Destroyer shows up and Rey senses Chewbacca on the Star Destroyer. And they decide they're going to go to the Star Destroyer.
Oh, when they're on that planet, she has another encounter with Kylo.
Not yet.
Oh, yeah. She's already on the ship. Never mind, sorry.
Because the other thing is they realize they need the dagger based off of because the dagger was in Chewbacca's satchel. I guess we left that part out. So the dagger is on the Star Destroyer. Now that they knew what the dagger says, they know they need the dagger because the dagger shows the way or something.
Mm-hmm.
And Chewbacca's up there. So they
got two reasons.
yeah. And then Zori, out of nowhere, has this golden ticket that she got from Willy Wonka. And she gives it to Poe. She was going to use it to go to the Wonka factory, but instead she'll let him go to the Wonka factory.
She's so angry that he left her on that planet all those years ago. And now they've been together for 20 minutes and she's going to give up her life and give it to him. Like she had her chance to get
So that
out.
he can save his friend that she has never met.
Right.
Yeah. So they use
It's true love.
they use the captain's medallion to sneak onto the ship. And then Rey senses something. She ended up sensing Kylo's chambers and like Vader's
helmet.
mask and some of the other crazy stuff. So they go that way. Do you remember what else happens on the ship?
Mm-mm.
Finn and Poe go off to save Chewbacca. Right?
Mm.
They get Chewbacca, then they get caught. They are about to get killed.
And it's
Hux.
Hux
saves
and then
them.
some other guy.
No, just Hux.
No, there's another guy with them, and he's and
Three
Hux
stormtroopers and
kills-
Hux.
Oh, 3 stormtroopers. He
Yeah.
kills them. Wait, he
Hux
shoots
saves them.
3 stormtroopers? I thought it was just him and one other
Nope,
person.
3 stormtroopers.
How does he kill them all so fast?
Because they weren't expecting it. I don't know.
Okay. So then he's like, I'm the mole.
They also took him into like the weirdest room. It was like a janitor's closet on the Star Destroyer.
This giant Star Destroyer.
They're going to take him to the janitor's closet and shoot him in the back. Like, that's how they're going to get rid of him.
And
That's not a half bad idea. Like, maybe they have like an exit.
But why didn't they just shoot him on the spot? It's not like they don't have enough
Well, they don't want
workforce.
to get all the blood.
They got enough
it's
people
like
to
in
clean
Austin
up.
Powers.
I know it is. It's just
They
so
have to
funny.
have an elaborate plan
Yeah.
that they can easily escape from.
So Hux saves them because he's the mole.
And then
Not because he's a good guy,
right.
but because he's just jealous
He
of
just
Kylo.
hates Kylo so much that he's turned his back on the First Order.
Just on Kylo. He wants him to lose enough that Kylo is no longer the supreme leader so that he can take over.
Mm-hmm.
So then simultaneously, Rey is in Ben's white room of doom. She finds the dagger, and then he and Rey force bond again. And he's on the planet.
He's on the planet
She's
looking
in the
for
room.
them.
I guess we didn't set it up. They also had a force bond on Pisana. We skipped that.
Mm.
And
Lots of
that's
force
how
bonded.
that's how he figured out where she was. Because she stole a necklace from him. He stole a necklace from her.
Yeah, so a little local girl put a necklace on her, and
Kylo
he like
stole it.
could reach through the force
Yeah.
and rip it off of her, and then he had somebody on the ship like analyze it, and they told him where it was from. That's why they
Yep. Knew that they were on Pisana.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're in Kylo's chambers. They have their little force bond. They fight. They lightsaber fight through the force somehow. And they cut a barrel of berries and that are on the planet, and the berries roll into Kylo's ship. So it's like showing weird
Things are
transference
crossing
of stuff.
over.
Mm-hmm.
And then they eventually destroy Vader's helmet.
and then
And it ends up on Kijimi, and that's how he figures
he's
out
like,
where she
That's
is.
where
Right.
you are.
Yeah. Because he can sense her, but he doesn't know where.
At some point that so far, I think it was the first time they talked.
No, this is the point where he tells her
Tells her what?
that he knows who she really
Oh,
is.
that's not what I'm talking about. I was going to say, like, in the beginning, he starts to tell her, like, I don't want to kill you. I want you to come with me. I want
The next
you to
time you
join
take
me.
my hand, you'll, yeah.
And he's not, like, telling her, I'm going to come and murder you. He's like, I still want you to come with me on my side. And
We can kill Palpatine.
yeah.
We can
yeah,
take over
he's-
the galaxy.
Yeah. He's not just trying to destroy her like Palpatine once.
I like the end of that chunk where he's like, I don't like the plot of, I'm going to tell you who you really are. But the way he ended it, where he says, I'll come and tell you. Well, how about I come and tell you? And then force bond over. I thought that was really neat.
Mm-hmm.
Did it get your gander up?
Yeah. I mean, it was good.
Little goosebumps.
So he comes back to the Star Destroyer. They end up, Hux takes them, all of them but Rey to the Falcon. Rey and Kylo are standing in this hangar bay, and Kylo tells Rey that she is Rey Palpatine and granddaughter of Sheev Palpatine. And then she jumps on the Falcon, and they run off to where the Death Star is. So then what happens there?
Is that the planet with the water? Oh, that's
Where the Death Star is? Yeah.
So they crash. Well, didn't they crash? They crash landed.
Yes.
There's something wrong with their ship. There's these local people on these weird horse-like creatures.
They're not local people.
Well,
They're former stormtroopers
oh,
that were
yeah.
also child abductees
That also
that revolted.
escaped.
Yeah. Who also are crash landed on this planet, and their ship is broken, but have become master horsemen,
And one of them is Lando's daughter.
supposedly.
Or his future love interest?
no,
We can't tell.
daughter.
Okay. That's not established.
It's heavily insinuated that he's his daughter.
It's
She's
also
his
heavily insinuated that he's flirting with her.
daughter. I don't know about that. He flirts with everybody, though.
Right.
so the Death Star is out in the middle of this like sea, very rocky.
It's not rocky at all. It's just.
I mean,
ocean.
rocky waters. Like
I don't know what rocky waters are.
Waves, rocky waves.
Okay.
Like crashing hard.
Okay.
Hard.
Those waves were scary.
Yes,
They're
scary waves. And the people that are helping them say, "Oh, we'll leave first thing tomorrow. We'll take you out. You can't go out there. It's too dangerous. The water's
Yeah, but there's
too
only like
dangerous."
6 hours left.
Yeah.
And
So we got to go.
so Ray leaves without telling anybody. And then for some reason, Finn is like,
We got to go after
I
him.
have to go. And so then him and Lando's daughter go out together to help Ray.
Ray gets to the Death Star.
Ray gets to the Death Star. She comes in. She sees herself as a Sith. It's really creepy. She actually like fights with herself kind of as a
Sort of.
Sith.
This was after she found the throne room in the Death Star and then found the library wing of the throne room in which Palpatine stores all of his favorite relics, including his Wayfinder.
So this is like that one piece of the trailer that when she looks like she's gone to
Yeah.
the dark side. This is that one tiny like shot.
Yeah. So she finds the Wayfinder.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Starts to leave.
she had previously seen herself as bad. In one of her other, when she shot the Force lightning, she has a bunch of Force flash things, and on one of them she's sitting on the Sith throne.
Mhm.
It flashes really fast. But,
Oh.
so it's not the first time she's seen that image of herself. But yeah, she like sort of fights it, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
It scares her off.
Mm-hmm.
Has weird, sharp teeth.
Yeah, it is really creepy.
Yeah. And then Kylo shows up.
Yep.
And he crushes the Wayfinder and says, "Join me.
Yeah, again,
The only
he's
way you're
saying-
getting there is with me."
It looked like a holocron.
It was a holocron, sort of.
And is this the part where she's telling him like, what does she say to him at this?
They don't
point?
really say anything. They just
Oh.
start fighting.
Okay, and then meanwhile, it shows back at the base, Leia's kind of like settling into this bed, and it's like she's gonna use. I mean, they haven't even built up the fact that she's like at the end of her life, or like that she's like weakened, or like anything like this whole time.
They've been setting it up like she's walking around with a cane. People are always helping her walk around.
But she's not that decrepit. I mean, they don't really build up that she's like at the end of her life.
I mean, Maz explicitly says to the audience and to Mary that she's realized that what she's about to do is going to take all the strength
Yeah,
she has
like right
left.
at that moment,
Yeah.
but not before this. So now at this scene, it's like, okay, Leia's gonna to use up all the energy she has left and just die right now.
Did
And
you see what she was holding?
Uh-uh.
She was
I don't
holding
remember.
Han's medal from A New Hope.
Aww. So she, I don't even know.
She just lays down.
She lays down. She uses the Force to connect with Ben. Says nothing to him whatsoever.
Well,
This is his
she
name.
made her presence.
She says Ben,
She made her presence wash over him, and it distracted him.
and then that was it. That was all she did.
So
That's all that needed to happen.
So this line right here is where the movie changed for me. Like right there. It was like there was two different movies that I watched. There was this complete mission based, we have to get the kerfluffle thing and do a thing. And then I could do without like I enjoyed the scenes and all the regular Star Wars cinematic stuff and everything, but I could do without everything that really happened before that.
Well, everything before that was them redoing Episode 8, basically.
Well, and actually, it started before because that scene where they fight on the Death Star 2 with all the waves.
That would have been like the
I mean, it's right around
end of a
yeah.
movie, right?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
It was a good part. And then here's for sure where it changes for me. And then from here on out, I have to bite my tongue the entire movie to stop from crying like a baby in the
How
theater.
does biting your tongue keep you from crying?
Because it gives me a focal point that isn't
focus
the
on the pain.
emotions that are up on that screen flowing through me.
Okay, I've
But
never
so-
heard anybody say that.
So they fight. Leia distracts him, and Rey stabs him with his lightsaber.
And then Ray immediately heals him with the Force.
Because she regrets it.
Yes.
Right.
And then
'Cause she
he's
loves
healed.
him.
And then he's
she
He's
runs
good.
off with his ship,
mhm.
his TIE fighter.
And he just sits there for a minute thinking. I think he can feel that. I think they both felt that Leia died right then.
Right.
Yeah, and I think what Leia did is she just temporarily broke the manipulative control that Palpatine had over Kylo.
So
like
she
right-
just came over and slapped him one good one.
Sort of.
Kind of.
With her Force
Snap
energy.
out of it.
She like put herself in between and shielded him long enough for him to actually feel like himself. And then he realized the weight of everything that had happened. And then he finished becoming him again.
And then I was totally surprised at the next scene when Han starts talking to him. So Ben's just sitting there, and then Han is there talking to him and basically told him that everything was okay and forgave him. I don't know if he said I forgive you, but he basically told him like,
But that wasn't
everything's fine.
Han.
Yeah, it was completely in Kylo's
Whatever. Well, yeah, I
He
know
has,
Han is
he has
dead. I don't think it's a mummy or like.
he has an imaginary friend like Mr. Robot.
Yeah.
And it's Han Solo, I
He
guess.
was letting himself forgive himself,
Right.
basically.
And he said the exact same line. It was like a remake of what happened when he killed Han.
Correct.
And he said, I know what I have to do, but I don't think I have the strength to do it. And then Han said, yes, you do. And then he threw his lightsaber into the water.
Correct.
It was good. Oh, where does Rey get her second lightsaber? I don't remember.
So the next scene. What's the next thing Rey does?
Get another lightsaber.
She goes to Octo and she burns
I don't
Kylo's
remember.
ship.
There's too many things.
You don't remember her burning his ship and throwing rocks at it?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. She lands on Octo, burns Kylo's ship. She decides she's going to do what Luke did and just exile herself.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because she's afraid she's going to become the bad guy.
Yes, because she keeps feeling the darkness in her.
Right.
And then Luke comes and is like, what are you doing?
Right.
But it's, again, not Luke. For
It's-
real.
This is a Force Ghost, Luke.
Force
Hi-
Ghost Luke.
Well, that's the same thing.
That's as good as
Well, I
real
mean, we
Luke.
just had fake Han Solo. Now we have fake Luke.
internal memory Han Solo
Right.
versus Force Ghost Luke.
Completely different, I'm sure.
I mean, they are.
Yeah. Sure.
So he gives her the pep talk, and then he gives her the lightsaber.
He gives her Leia's lightsaber.
And he acts completely differently than he did in all of The Last Jedi. Almost
Well, he said
completely.
he changed. He said he was wrong.
Right.
He said I was wrong.
And he couldn't figure that out while he was still alive and helped him out.
He did. He helped him out.
Ugh,
He figured it out.
sort of.
He helped him.
Yep. Yeah.
So now she's
Jedi shouldn't just lay down and die.
I think,
There's
we
way-
disagree
Well,
with that.
There's
That's
way too
literally
much, there's
how-
Two
way
of
too
them
much
have just done
laying
that.
down and dying.
I didn't-
Padme did it.
Yoda.
Yoda did it.
Right.
Luke, Leia.
Yeah.
Who else laid down? Obi-Wan basically did.
he
Yeah.
didn't even lay down. He just
It's almost like it's the thing that Jedi should do.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
Nothing. You do nothing. Yep. Or else you're touching the dark side. There it is.
Yep.
I was secretly hoping through most of the movie that Luke was actually still alive.
Nope.
Yeah.
And so he tells Rey that he had trained Leia and that she gave up on her last night of training because she had a vision that her son would become evil.
Can you explain to me why the internet can deep fake people's faces better in CGI than apparently the most powerful movie studio?
I don't
with
think
all
it
of
was
the
that
best
bad.
graphics?
It was
I
a
did.
holocron. Or not a holocron. It was like a hologram memory.
Yeah, but the rest of everything else was like high def, and then the faces looked like the Final Fantasy movie.
They
when
were
we in high
blurred
school.
on the edges, sure.
Ugh.
I thought it was
I did
fine,
not
whatever.
think it looked good at all. And I never said this. All the scenes where Leia's talking, super awkward.
Well, I mean, you can tell parts of it where they're cutting dialogue from other scenes and things.
It took me out. It took me out.
It's unfortunate.
It is.
I thought they did fine with what.
Okay.
Given what they had,
there were worse things
I was
they could have
surprised.
done.
I didn't think Leia was going to be in it hardly at all. I could not believe how much she was in it.
It was very surprising.
Yeah. So Luke had trained Leia, which is a retcon as well. Because in Bloodlines, she talks about how she's never trained. And, like, that's after the events of
Well, if she
shown
decided
in this.
to not do that because she was afraid it would hurt her son, then I could see
Well,
why she just
I'm saying
doesn't
in
talk about it.
Bloodline happens after where this training supposedly happened.
Right, but
in
she
the
would never
timeline.
have told anybody about it because then they'd be like, why aren't you a Jedi? What happened?
She's not talking to anybody. She's talking to herself.
Oh,
Like,
I see what you mean.
she's
I
not,
don't remember
it's like
that.
her inner monologue talking about why she always did the politics. She never trained to be a Jedi.
Mm.
Did they not pull Pablo in?
They felt they needed to explain something, I guess.
Okay.
And whatever. It's a book. So she had made a lightsaber and gave it to Luke and said, someone will rise up and take it and save the day.
So he put it in a time capsule.
So he did. He hid it in his hut on his deserted island. And then he raised his X-Wing that previously we had been told he had destroyed utterly.
Well, you saw it. You could see it in the water in one of the scenes.
Well, and in the visual, so this gets into EU stuff, but the visual dictionary talks about how he destroyed it beyond repair, specifically so he could not leave the planet.
Maybe he fixed it.
While it was in the water?
Handy. Yeah.
Yeah. But again,
I was surprised it could fly too, but
it was
apparently.
whatever. Fan service
I mean,
to the max.
so I think he just sank it, right?
Well, that's
just think it.
what they're going to say now.
Yeah.
And
then
that things don't corrode on Acto. Or they use non-corrosive materials.
I'm sorry. Those X-Wings go through space and
space.
hyperspace.
Do you know what space is?
Dust particles.
No. Space is nothingness. It's a
the
vacuum.
absence of particles.
But there's stuff that flies through space. There's all kind of little meteorites and
Okay, one molecule of meteorite, if they were going at that rate, would destroy their entire ship if they actually hit it.
yeah,
Yeah, that's why they have shields.
right.
Yeah. So no, there's no corrosion in space. Corrosion in most cases is oxidation. What is a necessary ingredient in oxidation?
Oxygen.
Oxygen. Huh. Of which there is yet none in space. So anyways, that gets into, I don't want to argue Star Wars physics. But whatever, he pulled the ship out. And
I almost cried here too.
She was flying
Like the whole conversation, I was like on the verge of tears.
Red 5 to go to Exegol.
And I knew how
to stop
ridiculous it was
Palpatine.
when it happened. I knew it was just like total fan service. Like
Yeah, to the max.
they played with my emotions the entire last 2/3 of this movie, and I knew they were doing it. And I was kind of simultaneously mad and
Simultaneously?
glad. Yeah. At the same time, I was mad and glad.
So while that's going on, the Poe, Finn, Chewbacca, C-3PO, which C-3PO is really funny at this point because he talks about how Babu Frick's like his best friend. He's his
because
oldest friend. And
That's
yeah,
yeah.
he's
'Cause
his oldest friend.
when his memory is wiped, that's the only person he
Yeah.
has to talk to.
Yeah.
And so he has the exact same personality. He just doesn't know anyone.
yeah, he doesn't remember anything. But R2 restores him.
Of course. How does he not know? How does he not know that R2 had a backup of him?
They knew that and they talked about it, but he said that R2 was really unreliable.
His notoriously
Oh, right,
unreliable databanks,
Yeah.
which has no grounding in any of the story ever. I mean, they literally stored the Death Star plans inside of them.
Yeah, but I think 3PO's always said that R2 is like a rusty bag of bolts or whatever.
And they're all sad because they don't know where Rey is. Because she just flew off. Finn sees her just fly off in a TIE fighter.
him and Lando's daughter are bonding. This is like Finn has like a new chick every movie. He had Rose last time.
Right.
Now he's bonded with this.
Well,
I
he
don't know
bonded
her
with
name.
Jana.
Jana, yeah. This is his new
It's not really
thing.
like his flame, though.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Oh, yes.
So
it
again,
is.
this is the thing where they're both kids that were pulled from their families and became stormtroopers, and
Yeah,
fought
he's
against.
into her though.
I don't think that he is. I think he's connecting with somebody who's just like him.
Well, this was part of the emotional manipulation because I knew that was all happening and they were setting up the love thing, and I felt like it was shoehorned in, but I liked it anyway.
I didn't think.
So you thought he was interested in her?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yes,
He was all up on that.
That's Rose was in the movie very minimally, and she was
Yeah.
never like alone with Finn.
They were
didn't-
alone for a moment, and they shared some banter.
But
They
barely
didn't
had
insinuate
any,
at all that they were an item.
No,
Well, they even mentioned it
mentioned what?
in the movie, didn't they?
I don't think
Mentioned
so.
what?
Or is that an interview I read afterward?
You probably read it afterward.
Mm.
There's been lots of interviews that said that she was in a lot more scenes with Leia, and they got cut because they didn't look good at all.
Shocker.
Yeah. Who knows if they're just covering?
Well,
her.
I mean, she was there to give some familiarity to the ground crew. So you had that emotional impact of someone that you knew.
You mean we can't just rely on Mary and Snaps as our emotional connection to
Maz
the
was there,
command?
too.
Snaps is not looking too good these days.
Well, he's dead.
I know, but
Ugh,
almost until the very end,
they were playing
He
to my
just sat
fan
there.
service there, too.
he just
When
sat
Snaps
there all the time. He was like,
finally
huh?
He had a funny little interaction.
Right before he died?
No, earlier in the movie where Rose is telling him that he should be more cheerful when he's talking to Leia about the mission when they're on Pisana, how there's no word back from Rey and Poe.
I
don't-
didn't think
I don't
it was
remember that.
funny.
You don't remember it?
I
thought
remember
it was funny.
vaguely him talking and me being irritated.
Just because it snaps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of that book. Those 3 books.
Oh, golly.
Oh, man. Those
So
are bad.
they're all... Oh, and Leia died. So they're all super sad. And Lando rolls up out of nowhere.
Now they're
Gives
super
Poe
glad.
a pep talk.
Oh, because Poe is in charge now.
Yeah,
As soon as Leia died, he was made king.
basically.
Yeah. They were just like, oh, yeah.
You're acting general.
Yeah. Who decided that?
Leia.
Okay. She set him up, huh?
Yeah.
He seems...
She was grooming him the whole series.
Should have been Wedge or Nia Numb.
Well, Wedge isn't with them.
No, not yet.
No. So they all have a pep talk. They talk about how they need to, they're just going to go. They're going to go attack. And Lando and Chewie are going to go back to the core worlds and try and muster up support.
Well, they...
Because also, I guess I forgot, they saw that Rey was flying to Exegol.
Right.
And so she was also sending back navigation info so that they could get there too.
Right. She was using the Force to get through, and they were going to...
She wasn't using the Force. She was using the Wayfinder that she got from Kylo's ship
Oh. Okay.
that conveniently plugged right into the old X-Wing that didn't corrode in the ocean.
Well, they use a universal standard.
Yeah, clearly.
That's why USB-C should be on everything.
That's right. Except theirs had four separate wires, so like not very good tech.
A lot of dongles.
Yeah.
A lot of dongles involved.
So she's flying Red 5 to the Exegol. She sends back the info. They say, "Okay, we're gonna go. We're gonna go attack because these Star Destroyers, they're in the atmosphere, and the atmosphere is all topsy-turvy, whirvy-dervy, and they can't tell what up and down is. So they can't get them up out of the atmosphere without one ship controlling
Oh.
each one like a tugboat, all on its own, up to the atmosphere, so that they can turn their shields on because they can't have shields in the atmosphere."
Okay.
Later,
Yeah.
Mary lays that out in an exposition bomb that is classic JJ exposition bomb that is not necessary whatsoever, but let's just throw out... You remember when Milo... Sorry, I'm using lost names for everybody, but you remember in The Force Awakens when Milo explains how the the resonator works on Starkiller Base and how they're going to blow it up.
Yeah.
Like, none of that needed to be said at all.
I liked it.
But it's just like an exposition bomb out of nowhere. A character knows incredibly intense technical details about something
Well, you got to be smart.
just now when it happens to be relevant.
Well, it's a good thing they have good people on
They
their
got
team.
Milo and Charlie, and they got the A-team.
I still don't understand their plan. They're going to
They're going to blow up the one satellite tower.
just the satellite tower. And
So then they won't be able to leave the atmosphere, so they won't be able to turn their shields on so they can blow them up by blowing up their guns, their super laser gun.
okay.
Yeah.
And the Star Destroyers are not manned because the First Order doesn't have enough people
Got it.
to man them.
Okay.
They shoot.
No, there's only a couple of them that shoot. That's the whole deal, is they're defenseless.
I got to check the tape on that one.
You can check the tape.
Okay.
All right. Whew. So now we got Act 3 kicked off. Small Resistance fleet going to go take on a gajillion Star Destroyers.
Yeah. That's how the rebellion works.
And they
One
had to
million.
have Finn be the ground commander.
Mm.
He's the ground general.
Well, because he's the stormtrooper guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like in Return of the Jedi, how there's
Oh.
a ground team and a space team.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's good parallel.
Yeah, it
More
is.
nostalgia touching
Yeah.
me.
It is. All right. Do you know where to take off from that? I just set you up. I just
Rey
gave you a
walks in
softball,
and
nice
starts
loopy.
talking to Palpatine. Is that where you?
That's what happens next.
So he's all creepy and disgusting, and he's like, "Welcome, my granddaughter. I've been waiting for you." And he basically he tells her he's been waiting for her his whole life. He wants her to come in and kill him, and then she's gonna become him. She's gonna be the leader.
She's going to become the Empress, and all of the Sith
I will
souls
live
are going
in
to take
her.
over her.
Yeah, she will. Everybody, all of the evil Sith that have ever lived are going to be inside her. And she'll be like the most powerful being that's ever existed. And this is definitely when they're like in this gallery and there's all these.
Yeah, thousands of Sith acolytes. Basically.
You can't really see them very close, but you
No.
can see them watching and.
They're all hooded and
Yeah.
dark
Yeah.
and moaning incantations and whatnot.
chanting and
Yeah.
things. And
It's kind of like Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
she tells him
Even
that she's not gonna do what he wants. She's not gonna be angry like him. And she's not gonna become him. And
then what happens? Let's see if you can pull out the obvious callback.
I don't know what you mean.
Emperor Palpatine opens the window to show all of her friends foolishly attacking, and he's going to destroy her friends.
Oh yeah.
And so that's what makes her decide to go along with his plan. Just like in Return of the Jedi.
Because he tells her that
I'm about to cry here too. In this part.
I forgot.
When Snaps dies. Snaps dies.
No, I did not cry at that part.
But so the Resistance is like... All right, there were two plots going on simultaneously. Lots of cuts. They decide they're going to go blow up this satellite dish. And I guess
Would they get it?
we glossed over the fact that Allegiant General Pride just shoots Hux.
Oh yeah.
He immediately
forgot
susses
about
out
that.
that he's the spy
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
shoots
He's
him.
They had
As a mole.
he had somebody shoot him in the arm.
He had Finn shoot him. I say, shoot me in the arm. And
then
Finn
he
shoots him in the leg.
Yeah, and so he comes in and he says they got away.
They overpowered me.
And then he's dead 2 seconds later.
Yeah, so Pride shoots him. So Pride's in charge. Right when the rebels are about to get to this dish, he's like, yo, they're going to blow up our dish. Our one dish. Oh, just transfer the controls up to our dish.
Right.
So now we're in charge.
We're the master dish.
Yeah.
But-
And all the Resistance is like, OMG.
Yeah, we don't have enough to go up against that Star
No,
Destroyer.
not even that. They turn the dish off. And then somebody's like, some random person, oh, they must have transferred it to another dish. And Finn says, and he uses the Force and he feels which ship the dish is now on.
Yeah.
And so they go attack that ship.
Right. And
they land a landing ship
yeah,
on the ship.
yeah, and
Then horses get out.
yeah, they have horses, and they're like,
The giant horses.
turn on the disruptors to mess with their speeders.
Right.
And he's like, they're not using speeders.
Exactly.
And why are they able to just walk out in space?
They're not in space. They're in atmosphere.
Yeah, they're on that planet.
If they were in space, their shields would be up and the resistance would have already lost.
Okay. It looks like they're in space.
It's just this planet is super dark all the time. They're not in space.
Mm.
If they could have landed there, why didn't they just land like 100 meters closer and then just blew up the dish?
They couldn't get there. There's too many guns. Too many guns.
Okay.
They'd have to do a trench run.
Maybe.
There was no pilot skilled enough.
That's reasonable.
That wasn't occupied.
I believe that.
Okay.
So they blow up, they stop the dish, and then the Imperials are like, "Oh, we'll just reset the systems. That'll fix everything." So they start resetting the systems, and then Palpatine starts shooting lightning at everybody. Or no, that's not yet. I'm getting my stuff out of whack. So there's a brief moment where you think the Resistance is winning, right? And also simultaneously to this, Ben shows up on Exegol.
Yeah, he starts to come in, and the Knights of Ren
Right.
come after him, and so he has to fight them.
He doesn't have his lightsaber anymore. And so they're beating him up. And then Rey sees all of her friends dying, and she's like, okay, I'll do it. And so she acts like she's going to cut him down, and they force bond, and he gives her Anakin's lightsaber.
She gives him.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he uses Anakin's lightsaber to kill the Knights of Ren.
Right. His homies.
Yeah. And
That was
Palpatine's
really
like,
cool.
what? And then Ben rolls up,
And Palpatine's like, doesn't matter.
and he just sucks their force
Yeah.
energy
now he's
from
got
him.
both of them.
And now he's actually alive. Like before, he wasn't alive, in my opinion. He was just a husk, and like the Sith souls were just controlling it like a puppet. And then once he stole their energy, that's when he became like a thing. Like he became Frankenstein's Sith monster.
Okay. He got a little more color in his face.
Tons more color. His fingers, his like burnt
Yeah,
chicken
his
wing fingers
were,
all like grew
They
back.
were literally like just curled up and like mummified fingers.
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm telling you. He was just the corpse of Palpatine.
uh,
Just dangling around, being roboted around. You know? So like his force, he was still
his essence
had
was-
strength, just like all the Force ghosts have strength, but he wasn't like a real being. He was just a Force being. And then when he stole their Force juice, it restored his body, and he jumped into it. That's my
That's
theory.
your take, your
Yeah.
hot take.
And then he starts, like, that knocks out Rey and
He's
Ben.
like, if you're not going to do it, I'll do it myself.
And he starts shooting Force lightning.
Right.
And knocks out all the controls and electronics of all the ships, and they're dropping. And then Rey connects to all the former Jedi. She becomes one with all the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
They all start talking to her and telling her they're with her.
Yeah. And then she grabs Leia's lightsaber and then Anakin's lightsaber, and Palpatine's shooting lightning at her. And then she sends it back at him, and he blows himself up, basically. And then the Resistance... I guess we skipped over the part where Lando and Chewie show up with, like,
Oh,
a
yeah.
gajillion ships.
Their whole thing
Right,
was like
all the ships.
a theme in this movie was like, oh, they're the bad guys, but there's more of us. Like,
Right.
we're everywhere. We're
If we just all stood up together,
if we were all just in
we'd be
this.
stronger.
And so they were like, went out into the world, the
core world.
universe, and we're like going to bring everybody is all going to join sides together all at once.
Yeah, every ship, even if it wasn't like a combat ship.
Right.
They were
Everyone.
coming because they knew the fate of the galaxy.
Right.
And so they brought everybody on the planet.
It's very
Everybody
egalitarian.
in the universe.
There's even a heavy-handed line where an Imperial, a final order, they call it the final order now, officer's like, those don't look like resistance ships. And then another, they're not. They're just people, sir.
That was good.
Yeah.
I almost cried there too.
So
Wedge is there.
Wedge is in there for a hot minute. He's shooting the turret and the Falcon.
Yeah, and
The Ghost,
Ghost
is
is
there.
there.
There's a billion ships.
yeah, there's a whole bunch.
so Rey destroys Palpatine,
Yeah, and then the
And
Resistance
then-
blows up all the Star Destroyers.
and then her and Ben.
Well, she dies.
That's not what happens yet.
Yes, she dies.
And then Kylo.
Oh,
Ben,
yeah.
so in between, Palpatine had thrown Ben down a hole because the Skywalkers threw me down a hole.
Right.
So,
I'm gonna
is this
get you
poetic justice or what? I'm going to throw the last Skywalker down a hole. But not apparently a big enough hole.
Oh yeah, and then he
So Ben climbs out.
his way up.
Yep.
He gives all of his Force juice to Rey,
Right. They kiss,
and then he dies.
but they kiss first.
Yeah, I said, and then he dies.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It's like we were interweaving
He saves
our
her.
sentences
I got
together.
you.
She wakes up. They kiss. He's happy. He's smiling, and then he dies.
Right.
So another Jedi that just gives
Why
it all
couldn't
up.
she hit some of that force?
There's
She
only
was
enough.
tired.
There's only enough left for one of them, and he decided
Yeah.
he'd rather that she live than him.
It was sweet.
So he pays the ultimate sacrifice.
For the woman he loves. And the one that saved him.
Correct.
He's returning the favor. I almost cried here too.
So then there's the classic Return of the Jedi
Celebration.
celebration montage.
It was longer. The music was better.
It wasn't that much longer.
Yes, it was.
We only showed 3 planets.
It was still longer.
I didn't think it was that much longer.
It was.
So that ties up the whole fate of the galaxy.
They showed Wicket.
They showed a Ewok. I don't know if it was Wicket.
It was. They confirmed it.
Did they?
Yeah.
So then there's one final scene. Can you describe the final scene?
No.
You remember the last thing you saw?
More
The
fan
last
service.
Star
thing I-
Wars?
oh,
More
okay.
fan service.
Rey. Who was she talking to? Did she go back
She
to
didn't talk to
Anakin's
anybody.
old house?
Yeah.
She was back at
She goes to,
Anakin's.
it's not Anakin's house. It's the Lars homestead that Luke grew up
Hold on. You missed the part where Chewie got his medal.
He didn't
finally.
get his medal. He got Han's medal.
Right. But he was always left out in A New Hope. He was the only one that didn't get a
So
medal.
a lot of people read into it that way. I didn't read into that
Oh,
at all.
that's
I
exactly
read
what
into
was
it.
happening.
No,
It was
I read
exactly
into it
what was happening.
as here's a remembrance of your friend and your.
But that's not
your
just
best
it.
friend.
It's like
All right.
it was like apologizing to all the people who knew that.
There's an element of that, but I don't think that was the main
I
thing.
guarantee you.
I
it
forgot
was.
about that part when I can't. When Finn and Poe and that whole group, when they get back from the Death Star planet, and they hadn't found out that Leia was dead yet. When they get off,
Rey knew.
but Rey wasn't with them.
Oh, the other
Rey
thing.
took off. I'm in the middle of talking.
No, I wanted to say this before I forgot. Finn.
that's what I was doing.
Finn's no.
You
Finn-
remember better.
Finn sensed Rey dying. You remember that?
No.
You don't
I
remember when Rey dies and Finn just stops walking in the Falcon? And you can clearly, they jumped straight to him feeling it.
Ray.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the third time where they insinuated that Finn was force sensitive.
So
Sorry.
they come back to the base, and they don't know that Leia's dead yet.
Finn and Poe don't.
No, yeah, nobody on the ship knows because Rey took off by herself. And so as soon as they get off, they find out, and Chewie, like, his knees buckle and he like falls down crying.
That was when they came back from Kijimi.
That's when he found out about Leia dying.
Right. When they came back from Kijimi, though, or from you're right, the Death Star planet
Yes.
called Kef Bir.
And that part almost made me
How do you
cry.
remember all this stuff?
It's not that hard.
I thought that was one of the saddest parts when you see Chewie like so emotional.
Yeah, I mean, it was sad.
That was
I almost
sad
cried
part.
there too.
You want to know
Basically-
something
basically
funny?
like everything that happened.
Like,
I almost
you'd
cried.
think, why didn't the Death Star land on the forest moon of Endor, right? Why wouldn't it? It was right there. So in the visual dictionary,
It explains.
it explains that there's these wacky hyperspace phenomenon, gravity wells,
Yep.
and when the Death Star 2 exploded, it micro jumped to a different moon of Endor called Kef Bir. because they wanted it to be in the ocean.
Did you get the visual dictionary?
No.
I have the other two. I need to get this one.
I'm
I
gonna
really enjoyed.
I'm gonna get the art book, but it got delayed until the middle of next year.
For real?
For real. Nobody knows why.
Hmm.
All right, so back to the last scene.
Okay, so she's in the Lars homestead looking around. And then there's some woman out in the desert, and she says, "Oh, nobody's been around here in so long."
Well, you skipped over why she was there. Why was she there?
Just don't know.
She wanted to bury Leia's and Anakin's lightsabers
Oh.
for some reason. Like, Leia, who's been to Tatooine twice, once...
She was putting them together in a.
It's not
in
Luke's
a historical
lightsaber.
spot.
It's Anakin's lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the old. It's the old.
The Skywalker lightsaber.
The old is going away.
Why didn't she just go YOLO and get Luke's actual lightsaber, which presumably still exists, his green one, and then she could have had all three.
She made her own.
No, I'm saying she could have buried all three.
Oh.
They could have buried Anakin's and Leia's and Luke's.
But they didn't talk about Luke's lightsaber.
And then why didn't she go get Padme's blaster?
Oh.
And she could have had all the little Skywalkers in one spot.
Maybe she will. Maybe she'll
so
come
this
back.
old woman,
She's like a dog.
That is the thing.
Burying bones.
I don't know why she buried it there. It
I
doesn't
almost
make-
cried there too.
I don't know why she buried it at all. I mean, why does having a
She's just-
lightsaber?
Paying her respects.
Yeah, it's the symbolism, but it's not just that. She's also seeding further adventures for when the next Force user is going to have an emergency where they're going to have to go back and find these archived lightsabers to save the day.
Wouldn't it be easier to keep?
I don't
it on
think
you?
it's as much that part.
I do.
It's more like this is all she has of them, and it's her own little memorial, basically.
What do you mean? Luke's hut's still there. Did the porgs eat everything he had?
But it's not his.
She has Red 5 still.
Presumably. But this is more important, right? You
Yeah.
think Anakin's lightsaber is more important than Luke's X-Wing if you're trying to remember Luke? I don't have a freaking clue.
So do you think she's gonna go build her own lightsaber?
She already did.
She did.
She showed her
Yeah.
lightsaber
While
she
she
turned
was
it on.
burying the other ones. Like,
Oh, I didn't even see that.
yeah, it
part.
had like the coolest switch trigger I've ever seen in my life.
and it was
Okay.
yellow.
So this old woman says, "Oh, nobody's been around here in so long." And then she
Who
asks
are
her
you?
who she is, and then Ray tells her she's Ray, and she says, "Ray who?" And she says,
Well, she sees the Force ghosts of Leia and Luke in the distance.
"Yeah." And I was mad that Ben wasn't there.
Oh,
Very
or Yoda.
mad.
Or anybody
Or
else.
anyone. Like they could have shown all the Jedi.
But especially Ben. Like, he just died. He gave up his life for her. He was such a huge character. Why wouldn't he have been there with his mom?
Why were any of them there?
So then she says she's Ray Skywalker.
Right.
And then
So-
old lady like doesn't
That's the end of the
care
movie.
at all.
Cut to credit.
She's
Well, they
just-
had to show the two suns sunset and then cut to credits.
Right. And that was the second that my childhood died. My entire life, I've had this story in the background of my life, experiencing it, and then it was finally over. And that almost made me cry too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And that was kind of my big takeaway. It was the first third of the movie I could take or leave, and the second 2/3 I almost cried like a baby. And my childhood was leaving. Like all the book was closing. I'm now a man. The Rise of Skywalker made me a man.
Jesus just sent us an email.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
While we're recording, okay, so what was your favorite part of the movie? Now that we've taken an hour and 20 minutes to summarize it.
I liked all
Well,
the parts
We
when
talked about it through the whole thing.
I didn't talk about my favorite
Well, we didn't
parts.
talk about favorite parts. We talked about like
This is
our
a classic
takes, our hot takes.
SWU thing. Is we do the synopsis, we talk about our favorite parts.
my favorite parts were when Ray and Kylo Force connected.
All the Rey and Kylo stuff. Is that a good summary?
Yeah.
Was any of the Rey and Kylo stuff not good?
No.
No, it was all good.
It was
I
all
liked
really
it.
good.
It was really good.
But
I
I'm-
liked it when Hux died. I thought it was really funny when he's like, "I'm the mole." I thought that part was hilarious. What else was really good?
I thought Lando, the actor Billy D. Williams was shockingly good.
He was Lando.
When he
was
we
at
saw him at Celebration, he looked like he was like, like a Palpatine puppet up there.
Yeah.
Like somebody was
He could barely
controlling.
move.
He couldn't
And
talk.
yeah.
Oh my goodness! But then in the movie, it just felt like an old Lando.
He was very much Lando.
They must have hopped him up.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It was great.
I liked the scenes with what's his name? Babu Frick.
Babu Frick.
He was hilarious.
Okay, he was hilarious.
That only took like
Yeah,
90
he was.
seconds.
He was
of the
great.
movie.
So in the middle of the fight at the end, when there's a Y-wing that does a graceful maneuver, I guess we kind of glossed over the fact they used one of those Final Order Star Destroyers to blow up Kijimi to show that.
Oh yeah, each
Oh.
of
The
the Star
super
Destroyers could do it.
That's how they found out that every single one of these
Yeah.
ships has a
Right.
Star Destroyer on it.
And then there was a funny line by Mary about, of course they do.
The patriarchy.
I don't know what on earth how that came up.
I read an article that it was super anti-feminist, like it was misogynistic because all the Star Destroyers had little.
Oh, because of,
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. Anyways, so in the middle of the battle, there's a Y-wing flying around, hot, wedge. Poe says, "Who's that flyer?" Classic J.J. Poe line. And Zori says one of her something about something Spice Runner. Like such a stupid line. And then Babu Frick pops out of nowhere. It says, I'm Babu Frick or something. What does he say? I can't remember, but it's so funny. But then the line that follows is Poe saying, "Zori, you made it." Like, what do you mean you made it? Her planet blew up. How did she get off the planet?
She got off
Well,
in
she
time.
was. That's not the planet that blew up.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't.
They blew up Kijimi.
The planet that blew up was where they had that
Droid guy.
42-year-old celebration.
No,
yes,
they did
it
not blow up
is.
Pisana.
Yes,
they blew up
did.
Kijimi.
No, they didn't.
How much
because
do you want to bet?
$1 million.
Lay something real on this table. Let's go. I will give you my phone if I'm wrong.
All right, here we go. What? Oh, hold
That's
on.
why
Let's
it was
Google.
so emotional because they had just
What
been
planet
there.
got blown up in the Rise of Skywalker?
I can search the web for that. Just tap the search chip below.
Yeah, I got you. Thanks. Google never lets me down.
Because that's why it was so emotional because they were just there
No.
partying with all of those
No.
locals and you saw the
No.
little kids and
They
everybody
blew
was
up
so
Kijimi.
happy. No,
Yes.
they did not. They blew up the planet where everybody was having the party.
No. You're completely wrong. You have yet to tell me what your stakes are. Because I want to come home with something more than I came with.
Okay, you tell me what you want then. I'll give you that Darth Vader toy on the floor.
Oh my gosh. What? Where exactly was it?
So, read the last line of that paragraph. You can not believe the internet as well as not believing me, but I'll just go find another internet source until I can just show you a clip of it.
What? Do you want to read it out loud for us, babe? It's good radio. You reading on a phone silently.
You guys were talking.
Oh my
So you want me to
gosh.
start reading so you can immediately interrupt me? That's
Yes, I
better
do.
radio.
Yeah.
Yes, it is better radio.
There's some great words in there that you're going to butcher.
Shock jock.
Kijimi was a frigid mountainous planet located in the Brick sector of the galaxy's mid-rim. It was homeworld of Zori Bliss, leader of a smuggling gang.
Yada yada yada.
Last sentence.
Kijimi was obliterated by a Zyston-class Star Destroyer of the Final Order's Sith Eternal Fleet.
Huh. That's shockingly similar to what I just said.
But I don't understand. Why would they kill that planet? It already was like covered in their own officers, like more than any other planet they've ever shown.
I don't know. I have no idea. That's just the planet that blew up.
I swear when they had the explosion.
Probably because we had friends there. We had Babu Frick. Everyone's like, they just blew up Babu Frick.
He's the funny.
No, I swear when they were showing the explosion, they were showing the little like alien little girl that made
Nope.
the necklace looking up.
Nope.
I swear they did.
That's your own little dream. You dreamed they blew
I
up
do
Pisana.
remember.
Yeah, they did.
No.
So, okay, if they didn't blow up that planet, then they showed the people on the planet watching another planet get exploded. Because I swear they cut to those people's
They
faces.
did not blow up Pisana. They
Well,
blew up Kajimi.
While the explosion was going on, they were showing the planet of Pisana and the people on it looking at the Death Star.
I hope when you bumped that,
It made the buzz come back. Sorry if our podcast is buzzing. We have still not found the root cause of the buzz in
Jen's
Jenny.
mic.
It's probably the mic.
Probably just Jen. Every time she gets on her phone and just looks at her phone while we're talking, it starts buzzing.
The Force intercedes
Right.
to make the podcast bad.
Okay.
So back to the original reason I brought this up. Like that interaction of dialogue is so terrible. I know this is my favorite parts. Babu Frick popping up out of nowhere is hilarious in the cab of the Y-wing, but the interaction between the characters in that point is ridiculous. It's horrible dialogue.
I thought a lot of Finn's dialogue was really cringy.
Yeah, I think a lot of the early dialogue was pretty cringy in general.
Mm-hmm.
What else did you like though? I thought the entire sequence on the Star Destroyer was good.
Oh, that whole when they're rescuing Chewie.
I really
And
Dagger.
when Rey and just everything that happened as soon as they got on that Star Destroyer to when they left was really good.
Yeah, it was.
Other than the Palpatine.
I thought it
thing.
was cool that they showed the but they went to find the Wayfinders, and I thought that reminded me of Rebels.
So that was one of the things Tim brought it up. Like it was the most Han Solo, the most Indiana Jones,
Yeah.
MacGuffin to MacGuffin to MacGuffin chase you could possibly imagine.
Yeah.
It was kind
I'm
of
just
stupid.
saying, just the fact that they're bringing that like Sith lore into it reminded me of.
But it wasn't really Sith lore. Like it's modern Palpatine assassin lore.
That's still Sith lore.
Sorta.
But they,
It is.
Like the actual
ancient
like
Sith lore.
Exegol and all that was cool. Like the Sith temple that he was in, that was super cool.
It was creepy, but it was cool when like seeing all the Sith sitting in there. It was cool when she saw herself as a Sith. That was really creepy.
Everything on the second Death Star was good.
I liked the scene with Han. That really surprised me. I thought that was really good. I could have done without that whole group of people on that planet, and then Finn connecting with that girl, and
The
then,
stormtroopers?
and then her
Yeah, for sure.
being Lando's daughter. It was just weird.
Well, they sort of took that part out of the movie. Like they hinted at it, but they didn't. It wasn't heavy-handed that he was her father.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was super kind of just cringy again.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we were talking about
I-
favorite moments. And all we're
She's the one segueing into the.
Really, I thought it was
You started
cool
it.
watching Rey train, like how she had like built that huge
course.
outdoor obstacle course, and that was neat.
Yeah, there was a lot of cool
It
stuff
was
that
really
happened
cool
in
when
the
you
first
could
third,
hear
but
all of the
just, I don't know,
Jedi
really
talking to her. And I haven't watched it on YouTube, but I heard like if you do it, you can like see all the different names of everybody talking because it goes so fast. I can't.
You can't see the names. What on earth are you talking
Like
about?
if you have the subtitle, like there's somebody that has watched it with subtitles and they can see all the names.
No, there's somebody who's made their own subtitles and put in the names.
right.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yes, we know who the characters are if that's what your question is, or what you're trying to get at. Do you know
Actually, I
your
think it's
favorite
cool.
Jedi in the history of Star Wars is in that scene?
Ahsoka?
No, Kanan.
No.
Yes,
I didn't know that.
FPJ's in it.
Yeah. Yes.
See, I don't have subtitles. I don't.
She watches everything.
I
It's like,
have to
Oh
watch
my
everything with
gosh.
subtitles because I can't hear, and it goes by so.
It's actually
Star
just
Wars
that she
was-
can't understand.
Yeah, you hear
anything.
the words.
Right. Oh,
You
I'm
just
getting-
assume they're all coming from
You
the same
always want the
person.
getting
subtitles
desperate.
on
I do now.
for
Yeah,
years.
you broke me.
He does it too, and he's done it for years. So don't act like
I
it's
started
just
because
me.
of her.
But I don't understand how the subtitles are going to help you recognize somebody's voice.
It doesn't help you
'Cause it tells
recognize
you
the
the
voice.
name.
It literally
If you're-
says who's talking.
If you're
Anakin's
watching
voice.
the source content, And that's how they decided to.
Yeah.
It says Ahsoka
Put in the
says
captions.
this. Kanan says this. Like, you just know because you see their names on the
Yeah, I
screen.
just know because I hear their voice and I say,
Ooh.
Yeah,
Hey, I identified that character. I've
That's
heard 100 times.
that's FPJ.
I couldn't. It goes by way too fast for me to identify that. I think Yoda was the only one I could be like, oh, it's Yoda.
Did you get you caught Ahsoka?
I just knew that Ahsoka was in it. I
Uh-huh.
couldn't say that I recognized Ahsoka's voice.
I heard her.
Mace Windu, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon.
I did have a hard time picking them out when it was live. That's
because
for
you were
sure.
still absorbing the movie.
Yeah, I was
That's why I'm a firm proponent of spoilers.
overwhelmed by
I know.
the movie. There was so much.
I agree. I can only imagine having not known that plot going into it and just being bombarded with plot.
Yeah.
Completely.
It slapped me in the face
Right.
repeatedly.
I didn't know anything.
So I've said this on the Discord. The movie in its entirety was spoiled 5 months ago. So the plot was very well known. I knew the entire plot. So I was able to.
You had processed.
Yeah, I already knew the story. I knew what was going to happen. I was able to focus on.
Yeah, but why can't you just watch the movie once and experience that and then go back and watch it again?
Because I don't want to watch it twice.
You haven't watched it twice?
I have watched it twice, but it's not like I wanted to go the second time.
What did you think the second time?
I thought, on the whole, the things that I didn't like, it reaffirmed how much I didn't like them. But I also would say that I left the movie more favorable towards the movie. It was more enjoyable because I had time to get over. Because when you know the spoilers, you don't know that they're real, right?
Right.
You assume that they're probably real. But then when they're confirmed that they're real, you have to have some time to process what you think about those things.
Mm-hmm.
And then get over some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so the second time, I would say it was more favorable than the first time. A little bit. But I didn't notice anything the second time that I didn't notice the first time.
It's because you notice everything. You're like a hawk.
Well, because I'm focusing on it because I'm not focusing on the plot.
You're like a hawk with your eagle eyes.
I'm not constantly thinking, what's going to happen? Did Chewbacca just die?
He's a hawk with his eagle eyes.
I already knew Chewbacca didn't die.
My favorite part was the last 2/3 of the movie. And all
I wouldn't say
parts
the
that-
last 2/3. You
all
said
the parts that made me
from
cry.
the Death Star on.
Yeah, isn't
That's
that?
not, no.
That's
Like,
like
It feels like the last.
it
2/3.
feels like it, but it's not.
Okay. Yeah.
that's
all right,
the
whatever.
last third.
I'm not going to
yeah.
argue. It doesn't matter. I loved it.
From that point on.
But specifically, I really liked when Snap died. I really did. And I don't know.
I knew you were gonna love that
I'm
part.
I'm
I was
such
like,
a sucker for
I felt
all
good
that
for you.
nostalgia crap. When
Oh, and they put
when
it
Lando
on
shows
thick.
up
Every
and-
30
and-
seconds was
and
a
Wedge
new
shows up.
nostalgia bomb.
I can't even help it. Like I know I'm being ridiculous, but I love it. I love it anyway.
The movie was fan service.
Yeah, I loved it.
Complete fan service.
And you know, I don't think I would have been satisfied with the ending, which I was, if they hadn't played that much fan service. Like I was disappointed they didn't do more. Like a little bit.
Why would you not-
But I still felt at the end of the movie like it was finished.
They tied
They
up
had to
everybody's
make it
storyline.
okay.
I
otherwise
felt
people would have
fine
been
with
so
everything
angry.
that happened. Like by the end. All right.
It didn't make any sense,
Close the book.
but it's over, and I'm
Close
okay
it.
with that.
Close the book up. It made complete sense at the time. And
No, there's no way it made complete sense
it
at
did.
the
It
time.
all makes sense still.
It's only after thinking about it for more than 5 seconds when it started to not make sense. Yeah, I think if you take a step back and accept what the movie is trying to be, it's just trying to be a spectacle film with lots of nostalgia and showing old characters having their arcs resolved somehow. Even if they aren't resolved in a way that makes any sense or is actually meaningful,
Sure.
just the fact that they're being resolved.
Made me feel better.
Right.
And like my
So
childhood was over.
it was
It's
successful at that, if that was its goal.
I think its goal was to make a lot of money.
Well, there's no doubt about that, but there's the cynical perspective of how do we make the most money?
Do you think?
But at some point, somebody involved in this project wanted it to mean something to somebody, right?
Yeah, you think they wanted Dio? They wanted to add Dio in.
Yeah.
They needed to sell more droids.
I think they wanted to have a cute new thing to look at. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's probably
Do
true.
you think that they were planning this whole time to bring Palpatine back?
No. I don't.
Why?
Because just the abruptness of it. If it was truly the plan, like they would have seeded it more.
I think we need to check the tape. I think I said Rey was Palpatine's daughter a long time ago.
So we can talk about that if we want to start talking about the things that you liked the least. What did you like the least about the movie?
I thought it didn't make sense that.
You already, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, you just brought up Palpatine being her grandfather, whatever. A couple things. Okay, so who was her dad? He's just a nobody.
No,
He was Palpatine's son.
Right, he was
Don't
Palpatine's
know
son, but
who his mom was.
he let him live into adulthood and get married and have a kid, and he was no problem. But now, as soon as he has a baby, we need to get that baby.
Well, presumably his plan all along was to let him create a baby
Right.
that then he could nurture to take over when he dies. If you believe the plot,
If you believe the plot
that
of
was
the
his
movie they
plan
showed
all
us.
along. Was that he was making his own successor
Right.
But why wouldn't that have been his son? Why?
because he
why
was
his
still
son?
alive while his son was alive. I don't know.
Okay, and then the whole force sensitive force user thing. It's supposed to be random,
Being inherited.
but now it's inherited. So like the strongest force user is genetically linked to the strongest light user, and he's the greatest Sith and she's the greatest Jedi. I don't know. It's just inconsistent and weird.
But so even though I agree with you, I would say it's only inconsistent because of what The Last Jedi said. Right?
No, it's big. Where did Anakin come from?
They haven't explicitly said, but there was an old EU story where he was basically created by Darth Plagueis. And Plagueis was Palpatine's master. So nobody really knows other than the Force made Anakin. Somehow.
But they imply it in one of the comics that Palpatine made it happen.
Was involved in some way, right?
But I thought that the Force came from like midichlorians or something, and it's not genetic, but it's like it's random, but it's not.
It doesn't have to
come from them.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
So the midichlorian thing is just a Phantom Menace thing that vanished off the face of the earth.
Okay.
So it's constantly evolving to fit the story is the answer to your question. But so you said you didn't like that it was just the frenetic let's chase after every MacGuffin ever
At the beginning, yeah.
at the beginning.
And,
What else
and the
did you-
dialogue with Leia, I didn't like that. Whenever she talked, I felt like it didn't fit correctly,
Yeah.
which it didn't. They ramrodded it in there. That's about. I mean, I just generally enjoyed the movie. I haven't even thought yet about comparing it to the other movies.
Well, you have
I
to
was
rate
gonna
it.
ask you which out of the last three, how you would rate them in your favorite.
Right now, it's my fave.
Of the last three.
Right now. But I need to watch it again. I've only watched it once. I had to watch The Last Jedi a couple times before I changed my opinion slightly on it.
So the thing that I least like about the movie is obvious. It should be obvious. The whole Palpatine thing is stupid. Not Palpatine coming back. I'm okay with Palpatine coming back. I even have a compelling explanation for it, as I've described in the Puppet Palpatine theory. The whole her being Palpatine's granddaughter is utterly stupid. It doesn't do anything other than...
It's just familiarity. That's all it is. It makes people feel like it makes sense.
Right, but it's stupid.
But if you don't have that, people don't get it.
They don't need to get it.
But they don't believe
There's
it.
two complete right.
If they can't make a logical association in their own brains, they're not going to believe what's up there. And
Right.
if you can't believe it, then nobody cares about it.
So the entire argument is built on the idea that if she's not related to somebody, she can't be powerful.
I heard that. I've heard
I'm not
people
sa-
complain about that after like episode 7. I like men in particular, like it doesn't make any sense how she's so strong.
Right.
Bleh. And so it's like what? Nothing from Star Wars makes sense. They make everything up. They can do anything. Like
Right. I'm not saying that they couldn't have done that. I'm saying that they did do that because the unwashed masses are going to react.
I would say that the reason they did it is because maybe in JJ's mind, she was always supposed to be a Skywalker. And then Ryan changed the story. That's what I truly think.
but she's not a Skywalker.
She
Right.
is now.
No,
No,
but
she's not. She's still Palpatine.
No,
like how?
she's a Skywalker.
no, I'm saying literally JJ set it up in his mind that Rey was Luke's daughter. And then Ryan did not go that direction when he made The Last Jedi. He went the opposite direction and said, no, she's just nobody. And nobodies can be powerful.
Right. But people didn't like that.
Some people didn't like it. And people complained that how is she so powerful?
Right.
And so
they went the other
let's
way,
put in-
and they had to give a familiarity.
but they didn't have to.
They did.
No,
Yes,
because
they
it
did.
adds nothing. If you took out, the second time I watched it, this is something I focused
It
on.
adds a little bit. It adds to her fear of going to the dark side and her.
But she could fear going to the dark side without being a Palpatine.
But she.
The dark side is
But it's
in
even
everybody.
stronger. It just
it's not.
amplifies everything.
It doesn't.
Yes, it does.
It does. So listen to what I'm about to say.
Well, spit it out then.
I watched the second time, focused intently on what would happen if they just took out the 4 lines where it's uttered that she's a Palpatine. Because there's only 4 lines. Kylo tells it to her once in like 3 words. And there's another sentence about her being his granddaughter. And then Palpatine has 2 lines saying that you're my granddaughter. If you just took them out of the movie, literally nothing in the plot changes.
Yeah, but I don't feel the same about it.
I would feel better about it. Because she's not a Palpatine. So she is
Why do you care?
her own person.
What?
Because the whole idea that you have to inherit your power is a fundamentally flawed argument. Right?
Are you going socialism on us right
No,
now?
it's not socialism. that was the message, right? So there's an
That's
interview.
more like caste system or something. Like
It-
you are
I
what
mean,
you're
you
born
inherit
into.
your
Right.
power by inheriting money.
So there's a lot of hierarchical things going on. But the whole point of The Last Jedi, the message of The Last Jedi was that anybody
Anybody can be a Jedi.
anybody can be a source of hope and power and
Hero.
help and whatever.
Everyone's a hero.
Broom
Anyone
boy.
can cook.
Broom boy
I
at the end.
forgot about Broom Boy.
Hope is that everybody can do the right thing.
Right.
Hold on, guys. You're wrong. You have to be a child of one of these 2, beholden, chosen families to have power.
Are you really standing up right now for The Last Jedi? You're like,
Oh,
sticking your-
150%. The Last Jedi is my favorite of the sequel trilogy
wow.
Really?
by a wide margin.
Because it was the most different.
Because it's the one where the story actually progressed
Changed.
and did something instead of just remaking the original trilogy. Right?
Yeah.
That's all the sequel trilogy has been. The Force Awakens was a remake of A New Hope.
Yep.
This movie was a remake of The Return of the Jedi.
Yep.
It's so much just cramming nostalgia and retelling the exact same story in the exact same galaxy.
It's not. I mean, it's not the exact same story.
It is.
There are parallels that can be drawn.
It's not parallels. I mean, it's
No,
It's-
it's not everything.
the story was the same. Oh my gosh. Yeah, let's
We need to
run it
wrap.
out.
I've got a
Let's
head.
wrap it. You're arguing back. You want to
I'm
wrap it up? Stop arguing.
I'm stopping.
So, in summary, I know this is going to happen. Somebody's going to edit the movie, take those parts out, and then you can watch the movie without those parts, and you'll realize that they add nothing to the movie whatsoever.
Well, maybe when they put
All
out the
of her-
special edition.
All of her conflict stays the same. Instead of the assassin going to go get Rey, just say the assassin's going to go kill Rey because Palpatine sensed this really strong force power awakening on Jakku. Like, how does that change anything? Palpatine killed her parents. She still has a motivation to hate Palpatine, to go to the dark side, to want revenge.
Sure.
All of that stuff still exists.
I already explained why they did it. I feel like you...
No,
either don't
you're not
believe-
only explaining why they did it, you're defending it.
Yeah.
Right, because you think that it is correct. You're not playing devil's advocate.
I like the story better that way.
Right, you're
Yeah.
defending it. And I'm telling you that is a entirely bankrupt argument. Because it's
my opinion.
It
It's
is
how
your
I feel
opinion,
about it.
but we're talking about how you're forming that opinion. You're saying that everything has to be linked to nostalgia,
I'm not saying it has to.
You're
I'm
saying it's
for
better.
A lot of people are
including
going
you,
to connect with it better.
including you.
Including me.
You think it's better if everything aligns to the original characters.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm saying that is a crazy argument to make. That is just playing into I want the old EU, I want Jason and Jaina, I don't
I don't
Yeah, you
necessarily
do.
need that.
Yeah, you do.
I didn't like that.
You
Jason
wanted-
Jaina stuff very much.
You wanted Luke to come back and
Yeah, I did.
destroy the Empire all by himself.
Yeah,
and-
I did.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. So there's a huge
But they didn't
portion
they
of
didn't do
the
that. They didn't do that.
they couldn't. They weren't going to retcon him dying, I don't think.
I don't know why they
They
couldn't have.
retconned everything else. So they basically just threw The Last Jedi out and redid it for the first half of the movie, and then did the 9th movie in the second half. And there are good parts of the movie. I'm not saying the movie is a bad movie. There are really good parts. There's just, they didn't need to all the stuff
I
that they
was really
retconned,
shocked.
they didn't need to do that
When
to tell the story.
he said you're a Palpatine, I was like, what?
Yeah, there's no reason.
I was like, what? Wasn't expecting that.
But yeah, there's a ton of people that have the exact same opinion you do.
That's good.
It's utterly insane. It's a insane position to hold that everybody has to come from one family.
That's not the position that I
It is.
I think that it made it worse because they made it such a mystery of where her parents were and who her parents were, and then they just left it now it doesn't matter, but that's what that drives her and torments her, what happened to her family.
But that's
They had to make them
It's the whole reason she stayed on Jakku for her whole life,
I
waiting
know.
for her parents to come back.
I know. It's they built it up like it had to be some huge important thing.
and it was.
It wasn't. That's the whole point.
But-
It wasn't
and then
important.
Kylo lied to her to
He
mess with her.
didn't lie. There's even a line in this movie. I have never lied to you.
Yeah, he said her parents were nothing, but your grandpa.
Because that was true.
Your grandpa, on the other hand.
It adds nothing whatsoever
All
other
right.
than, oh my God,
How many?
she's a Palpatine.
How many?
Oh
how
my
many-
God.
How many lightsabers? I have to pee. I got a terrible headache that just keeps getting worse. I'm all hunched over.
So I landed on a 6.8.
Ooh.
10.
Oh my
10
god.
lightsabers. I loved it. I loved this movie.
I liked it a lot.
Any movie that's gonna make me almost cry that much when I don't
But it wasn't
cry,
earned.
it feels earned.
Only because you've been waiting 20 years to see something with these
But
characters.
I don't feel things that strongly unless it's anger. But that made me feel love.
He's like, what's the word? What's the
so
word? I don't know.
What did the chewy metal scene mean to you?
And he finally got his medal.
Oh my God.
He finally got his medal.
That's so stupid.
He should have gotten his medal in the first place.
That's just stupid.
And now he's got his medal.
Right.
I can't help it.
You can help it.
No.
You
it's-
can rise
it's-
above
It's
your-
literally how I feel about
your
it.
caveman response.
Okay.
Ooh, that thing I know before. They referenced it.
Yeah. Yep. You know what? I needed these movies to have those references. Now I do not need them to continue to make those references.
They're
Because that story is up on the shelf.
I don't think it is.
Well, it's not. I mean, they're going to do all the comics and the books, and I get to continue to experience it, but like, I'd be fine if that was just done. It's okay.
I don't know what they're gonna do next.
I give it an 8.5.
They're going to jump either way in the future or they're going to jump way in the past.
I don't know.
I would rate it. I think episode 7 and then 9 and then 8 right now.
I definitely like 7 more than 9. Just because it, as a movie, wasn't so
It wasn't
packed.
so, and it
It was fast. The Force Awakens was a very rapid movie.
Yeah.
This
it
one's
didn't have a lot
warp
of
drive.
stuff that didn't make sense and that was like weird, awkward dialogue. Like this one definitely had.
Yeah, there was. Mostly from Leia.
I don't think so at all. I think
the
lot
Leia stuff was fine.
No,
Okay.
I think there was a lot of weird, awkward dialogue between Finn and Poe, and that was weird. And then Finn with Janna at the end was weird, and then with Lando, it just
there was a lot of cringy stuff.
Yes,
in it.
It was.
There was some really good dialogue in it. Anything with Rey and Ben was great.
Yes, those were my favorite parts, for sure. We have some letters. Are we going to read them?
Nope.
He has to go to the bathroom and he has a headache.
Yes. We're not going to read the letters.
We are. How many behind on Mando are we? 3?
2.
More than 2.
1.5.
I think we're 3. We haven't recorded about 3 of them, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get those done. I mean, we could do. We need more feedback on Rise of Skywalker.
It's trickling in. Send your feedback.
We have like 4 or 5
Letters.
letters.
All of
Star
you
Wars Nerds Unite
can tell me how dumb I am. And then the other half of you can tell Tim how dumb he is.
Josh, do you remember, like, I don't know how many months back, but you asked me what I wanted to happen in this movie?
I don't remember what you said.
I said basically exactly what happens.
Oh, were they...
I said...
Ben
I
gets redeemed?
think that... Yeah, I said I think that,
So
she's going to do something.
You didn't comment on this. Do you think Ben should have been redeemed?
I just let them tell me the story.
No. Did you like that Ben got redeemed?
So that's a different question.
All right, that's what I'm asking you.
Okay.
Do you like that Ben got redeemed and kissed Rey?
It made me feel good.
That's not what I asked. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good story?
That's a different question.
I'm asking you that right now. That question.
Do I
you
think
think
it's a good story?
Do you think that is the way the story should have gone?
Yes.
You think Ben should have been redeemed and he should have kissed Rey?
Yes.
Because I don't think that's what you predicted would happen.
Not at all.
No, but I liked it.
I predicted that exactly. I said, I don't know. Something's going to happen. She's going to save him. He's going to save her. They're going to kiss. They're going to fall in love. And you...
I didn't say anything because I already knew what was going to happen.
You knew that was going to happen when I said that?
Yeah.
I think we need to check the
tape. And you didn't give me any credit for that?
If I gave you credit in the moment, I'd spoil it for everyone.
I didn't know how.
What's funny? This is funny. This is a funny thing about the spoilers. The spoilers didn't have the whole Ben crawling out of the hole and then him reviving her.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing that the spoilers knew is she killed Palpatine, and then the next scene was her on Tatooine. So that weird interaction, the whole kissing, I didn't know about that. That was not in the spoilers. But him being redeemed, and that was in the spoilers.
Mm.
All right.
I liked it.
We're everywhere on the internet. Check us out. Letters at Star Wars Nerds Unite. Tell us what you thought about Rise of Skywalker.
I'm sure we'll talk about it some more once you send us letters. I don't think anybody's a jerk. I think some of us are objectively wrong.
Tim obviously thinks one of you is a jerk.
I'm sure that my angry farmer, he'll defend you.
That guy on Facebook thinks you're the jerk.
Yeah, he wants to punch you in the kisser.
He's on Team Tim.
Well, hopefully, when he gets to this episode, he'll
that'll be a
have
long
a better
time.
opinion.
Yeah, he just started.
Right in your soup cooler.
Yeah.
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 All right. May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
We're doomed.
This podcast is a part of the Benview Network.
You can find this and other podcasts like it at benviewnetwork.com.
Hello.
Hello.